Okay, so for those who don't know, where did you come up with the name?
The name is actually a slang term for UFOs, and I think it's it comes from these sightings of these glowing balls in the sky in World War II. I think it was the Royal Air Force that nicknamed them Foo Fighters. And I was reading this book called Above Top Secret, which was all UFO sightings over Europe and actually some Australia too, and mostly military sightings. And I was reading that at the time that I was recording, and I just thought it'd be kind of a funny name for a band because I love it when bands have names like the Ramones or the Pixies or the Tramps or the Heartbreakers, and it just feels like this gang of people. And it just stuck. And it's actually kind of a ridiculous name, but we're stuck with it, so there's not much we can do.
So you believe in the UFOs?
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Now, getting to this album, can you talk a bit about the background of the album, where you recorded it? Firstly, I assume that you must have been under a lot more pressure with this one, coming off the success of the last one.
Well, actually, I think that the pressure was more internal. I think that it was the four of us. It was the first time we'd gone into the studio and recorded together. So the only expectations we felt like we had to live up to were our own, because we hadn't recorded together yet, and we weren't really sure what was going to happen. So we just wanted it to be as great as it was in the rehearsal room, and I think we met all of those expectations. I mean, we really worked hard at it, and came up with something that we're all pretty proud of.
And where did you record it?
We recorded a few songs up in Seattle at a studio called Bear Creek, and then most of it was done here in Los Angeles at a studio called Grandmaster.
Is this with the new drummer, or the new drummer came?
The new drummer came after, actually.
Okay. I'm sure that it must have been very intimidating for the drummers having to audition for you.
Well, I think that William, the original drummer, William, I think was always kind of a little freaked out. Because I know he was a big Nirvana fan and felt a little intimidated, but it wasn't crippling. I mean, it was just sort of, I don't know, out of respect or something. He just thought I was such a great drummer. When I thought the same of him, I mean, I thought that he was an amazing drummer, and didn't understand why he held me in such a high place. I really didn't. I just thought, like, he was nuts. And our new drummer, Taylor, is so incredibly... He's an amazing drummer. He's on a different level. So I don't even go near the drum set anymore. I'm embarrassed to get behind it because he's so good. He just makes me sound like crap, so...
You don't miss the drums?
I miss the drums terribly, but when Taylor's around, I don't want to sit down behind him because he's too good.
So how would you rate yourself, sort of, are you a better drummer or are you a better vocalist?
I would probably say that I'm more comfortable as a drummer. I'm more confident and comfortable playing the drums than I am playing guitar or singing. But they're also different. I'd probably just say that I'm a better drummer than anything, just because that's where I feel most comfortable.
It's a really cliched question, but it is a cliche that, you always hear about drummers that really want to be up front. Is that something that you always wanted to do?
Not really. I mean, when I was writing these songs and demoing them by myself at home on an 8-track during Nirvana and before, it was really just for fun and just an experiment. So I didn't ever feel like I had the charisma or the star personality that you needed to be like the front man of a band, And I sure didn't think I had the voice, so I just fooled around with it by myself on an 8-track. But
So when did you realize that you could? I mean, you do have the voice, you do have the charisma.
I still don't think I do. It just happened that the album came out and we started playing shows. So I consider myself a pretty boring person. I don't really think that. I mean, when I think of a front person or like a star, I think of like David Bowie. You know, he's really weird. There's definitely something about that man that's unlike anyone else, and I just sort of think of myself as kind of like an ordinary Joe, you know.
Why do you think that you're so accepted? I mean, do you think it's maybe because you are an ordinary Joe that the crowd respond to that, or?
Possibly. I think it's probably just the music. I don't think it has to do with what I'm wearing or what I look like or what I act like. I think it's just the songs, you know. Hopefully that's what it is. That's what I hope it is.
Were you worried when Foo Fighters started out that sort of your fans or your public would actually allow you to sort of reinvent yourself into this new entity? Did that sort of...
Was I worried that they wouldn't allow me to do
Yeah.
that? I wasn't worried. I mean, I was conscious of it. I mean, I knew that it was going to be strange for for someone to see me standing there with a guitar. But, you know, I'd played guitar since I was 10 years old. So when I saw myself doing it, it didn't look too strange. But I knew that it was, for a lot of people, even people that I knew very well, come up and say, God, it's so strange to see you up there with a guitar singing. And I mean, after the third American tour, I think people finally got used to the idea that, you know. But I wasn't really worried that people wouldn't accept it, because whether they accepted it or not, I was going to do it. I mean, I was just doing it because I loved making music. So I wasn't really too worried about it.
What sort of percentage, speaking about your fan base, are they Nirvana fans? Or has it sort of changed? Is it sort of like originally they were sort of 80% Nirvana fans and now it's sort of changed over?
Well, originally, the first tour was before we'd even released a record. So I had sort of assumed that those people were Nirvana fans because no one had ever heard the music. And then as we toured more and more, you know, I mean, they can be Nirvana fans and they can be Foo Fighters fans. But I think the people that were originally at first interested in the band were probably Nirvana fans that wanted to see what was happening now.
So how do you think this album differs from the last?
Well, the first album was recorded in 5 days by me, and it sounds like it. And this album was recorded by all of us, and we spent maybe 3 or 4 months on it, and hired a producer, and spent a lot of time and paid a lot of attention to arrangements and really milking the melody out of every song, making sure that we got the most out of each part of every song, you know.
The fact that you were just saying earlier that you weren't sure if you had the charisma to front a band. So now that you are doing it, is it easier than you thought it would be, or in what ways has it sort of surprised you?
Being the singer of a band? I don't know. It's not... I mean, I've been in bands for years, and I've watched the singer or the front man have to deal with all the attention and have to deal with the interviews and the hype. And being a drummer, it's always kind of nice because you're hidden in the back. You know, you're so hidden and you get to do what you do and you love what you do, but you don't have all the hassle that surrounds it, you know.
Because I would have thought that would have put you off. The fact that you have sat in the back sort of watching all the attention and all the, you know, the negative things that go with it.
Well, not really. I mean, see, it doesn't have to be that way. You know, you don't have to be this tortured, reluctant member of the band, you know. And see, I really believe in... I don't believe in the front man, kind of the leader of the band idea, because a group is it's a group. It's a collective effort. And you know, I write the lyrics and come up with the basic melody of the song, but everybody else makes the song what it is, you know. Like, as a band, we make the song what it is, and I have to come out and do all the interviews and stuff like that, but it doesn't mean I'm the most important person in the band. I may have been elected like spokesperson for this interview or spokesperson for that interview,
But creatively, aren't you more responsible for what happens though now?
well, see, I hate to flatter myself so much as to say I am the driving creative force behind the band, because if I come up with an idea, a guitar riff with a vocal melody, and maybe it's a verse, chorus, verse idea, then that's what I've come up with, and that's my idea. But it's up to everyone else to take it in their own direction and make it bigger. And Pat and Nate definitely make it so much bigger, So I can't say that I'm the the big kahuna in the band, because the album wouldn't sound like it sounds if it wasn't for Pat and Nate. So.
Do you feel more creative though in this band?
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, playing drums is fun, and playing drums is its own form of expression, I guess. But when it comes to like writing lyrics and writing music and arranging and working with dynamics and harmonies, and I mean, that's definitely a lot more creative than just playing the drums.
What did you think of the live album, the Nirvana live album? Were you happy with the result?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, there's so many songs, like, there's so many tapes and so many songs, just so much stuff that we could have released, and we released this one thing, the live thing. Yeah, I thought it was good, I mean, I have live tapes at home that are better than that, but those are mine, so.
Did you have much input as far as what songs were going on the album?
Yeah, Chris actually did most of the pick and choose, and I think he did a great job. But yeah, ultimately we had total control over what was happening.
How would you compare touring with Foo Fighters compared to Nirvana?
Well, we're not on the same level as Nirvana was, that's for sure. So it's just a lot more low key, everyone's getting a little older, everyone's getting a little, instead of going out to a bar and getting really drunk, we'd rather sort of sit around and play Scrabble kind of thing, So I think that everyone's just sort of a lot more comfortable with the idea of touring in a rock band, and it just seems like something that we've done for a while, and we know how to do it. We know how to do it without hurting ourselves or wearing ourselves too thin, or it's just we sort of know what we're doing now.
Are you sort of, I don't know, do you take a particular stance on being health conscious, or
not really?
You hear about U2, there's no drinking allowed in the band now on nights they perform. Do you have any sort of...
Well, it depends on the individual. I mean, I'm not a vegetarian, and if I was to go on a tour and someone told me that I couldn't eat meat, I'd say, fuck you. If I went on tour and someone told me that I couldn't have a beer, I'd say, fuck you. Who are you to tell me what to do? So, I'm not going to, force my ethic on anyone. If someone wants to be a vegetarian, then that's great. If someone wants to, eat meat, that's great. As long as someone's getting hurt, I don't condone heavy drug usage. I don't condone like massive alcohol intake. Like if you start hurting yourself or hurting other people, then it's time to get your shit together. But for something like smoking, like I quit smoking. I quit smoking once for like 6 months. Right? Did I make everyone stop smoking in my car? No. They have the right to smoke. They have the right to smoke in my car, If I can't handle being around people who smoke and I've quit smoking, then I've got to do something about it,
I read somewhere that you said music is a trade-off. Is that accurate, firstly, and secondly, what did you mean by that?
I don't remember saying that. I don't know what music is a trade-off.
I guess you're talking about lifestyle, or I don't know. That was the whole quote. No?
Doesn't really ring a bell. I mean, I don't know what I was referring to. I'd have to see the whole quote.
As far as videos, obviously you got a lot of press on your last video.
Yes.
How involved are you in the video process?
Well, for the first video that we did, I'll Stick Around video.
Hang on, sorry, because that was what. What if I can unplug that?
You probably can.
No, it's okay.
For the first video, the I'll Stick Around video, we were a little afraid of making a video, really, because most videos are kind of ridiculous, and we just didn't want to make something that was your conventional, everyday, pretentious MTV clip. So we hired Jerry Casale, who was the bass player of Devo, to direct the first one.
Do you know how to spell his name?
Casale.
Mm-hmm.
His first name is Gerald. And so we made that, and it was weird. With the Big Me video, we had looked at a few different treatments, and there were sort of these really lush, elaborate, involved, mini epics for this 2.5 minute ridiculous love pop song. Okay. So most of the treatments were just too crazy, And then we heard the Mentos idea. We thought it was just perfect because it was silly, and that song Big Me, it was really kind of like making fun of pop music. And so here we have this song that's sort of making fun of pop music, and then a video that's making fun of this ridiculous candy commercial. It just seemed to work really well. It was fun to do. So.
And that was such an awful commercial. And it just never went off air.
They still make more of them.
Yeah.
There's so many. Yeah, I don't know.
It's sort of difficult, but I mean, do you ever sort of think about the impact that Nirvana had on sort of today's music?
Not really. I mean, every time you open a magazine and there's an article about alternative music, it always says, pre-Nirvana, post-Nirvana. And I just don't understand what the huge deal was. I don't get it. I mean, half of me thinks that it was just a hype. And I mean, we were an okay band, and Kurt wrote really great songs, and how that spoke to the generation, I don't know. I mean... You
mean you think they just could have picked anyone from Pearl
I don't
Jam
believe in the myth. I was in the band, and so I'm not going to sit around and say, yes, well, we were legends for a good reason, because that's exactly what we were against. We didn't believe in rock stars. We didn't believe in, rock idol worship, exactly what happened to the band.
Why do you think you were chosen then as...
I have no idea. I love playing music. I loved playing in that band. I loved playing the drums. And that's what that band was about. It was not for me to analyze the geographic social impact of the band.
Do you recognize though that you are thought of as, the start of a genre of music?
Well, apparently, I mean, it seems like everybody lists us as that, as the grunge movement. But see, you have to go way back before that. Before anything happened with Nirvana, look at what Jane's Addiction were doing. They were selling a lot of records. They did a Lollapalooza tour, That's kind of where, and even before that, look at what bands like The Replacements were doing, or Husker Du, and then you can go back before that, and there's Yeah, I mean, it just goes way back, and why our band was the one that ended up in the forefront, I don't know. That's why it's hard for me to believe any of the pre-Nirvana, post-Nirvana stuff, because what about pre-Pixies, post-Pixies? Or pre-Jane's Addiction, post-Jane's Addiction? It's just like, for some reason, it stuck with Nirvana, and I just never understood it. So, therefore, I have a hard time believing any of the, any of the hype. It's easy to get caught up in something like that. If one journalist writes it, then people actually start to believe it, and then it kind of starts happening, and then everyone else sort of jumps on this bandwagon, and we're all just like, wait a second, what's the big deal? I didn't really get it.
Do you think, in a way, I guess it's sort of like having two children. Like this is, I know you're in Scream, but like the second big band that you've been in, is it as thrilling as like the early days of Nirvana when you were starting to get some success, or?
Well, it's so different because, the early days of Nirvana, I had never experienced anything like that before in my life. And so...
You mean the sudden fame and...
Yeah. So that was unlike anything that had ever happened before to me. And so now, I mean, it's just different because the level that Foo Fighters are at now, Nirvana's already been. So you kind of know what to expect and which door to take when you're faced with a decision. You know which way to go and which way not to go, and the things that you should embrace and the things that you should stay away from. So just like,
What's the main thing that you've learnt that you sort of know you would never do again?
That I would never do again?
Yeah.
Oh, God, the main thing that I would never do again. Probably get trapped in a contract. And that was even before Nirvana. That was even before Nirvana that I got trapped in a contract.
Do you mean management or record?
It's just like a record / management / crappy contract. Contracts are scary.
If you can't get out of them, they definitely are.
Yeah.
Do you miss those days at all?
Which days?
Do you miss the Nirvana days?
Well, I look back on them and have fond memories, but it's the kind of thing that you don't want to live over and over and over again. It happens once, and then you feel fortunate that it happened, but it's not the kind of thing you'd want to do twice, I don't think.
What would you like to be remembered for as far as being a musician? Would you like them to say sort of, this is the drummer, this is the guitar, you know what I mean? Like, what's your...
I think I would probably like to be remembered as the drummer that ended up in another band as a guitarist and singer that didn't look like a dork. Because that's what I want my tombstone to read.
Do you think it's hard not to look like a dork?
For me, yes.
Now, before I ask you to do a couple of IDs... Oh, no, I need to ask you about Australia. You've toured Australia, yeah? Do you have any standout memories?
The Somersault tour that we did last summer. It was awesome. Just amazing. It was so much fun. It was one of the best tours I've ever been on in my life.
Why is that?
Because it was just this amazing group. We had Sonic Youth and the Beastie Boys and Pavement and Rancid and the Amps and Bikini Kill and it was just great, traveling together, all of us on the same airplane, all of us in the same hotel. It was just great.
Is there any Australian bands you like?
The Meanies. I used to like Tumbleweed a lot, but I haven't heard anything from them in a long time. I like Frente's music.
Really? That's surprising.
Yeah. The girl's got a beautiful voice. And I can't really think of many. AC/DC and Midnight Oil and INXS and like...
The old standards.
Yeah, right.
So is there anything about sort of Australia, I don't know, the fans or the country or anything that sort of I don't know, is different from...
I don't know why it is, but I think that for what reason, I don't know, but Australians are very accepting of Americans and welcoming, and that doesn't really happen much on this planet. Wherever we go, we're always seen as the ugly Americans. Here they come, you know. But for some reason, every time I've been to Australia, I've felt totally welcome, you know, either with the band or without the band. I've been on vacation there before, and everyone's just been very nice. It's amazing.
Where do you live now?
I have a house in Seattle, but I've been spending most of my time here working. So.
And do you do you live with someone? I mean, are you going out with someone? This is just 2 personal questions.
Okay.
And
No, I don't live with someone right now.
Okay. Are you going out with anyone at the moment?
Possibly.
Okay. And one more thing, might she possibly be in the entertainment business?
She might.
Okay. Might she? No. Okay. Will I push you on this or not?
No, because you're not going to get it.
Fine. All right. Now I'm going to do. This is called. You have to pick 5 numbers between 1 and 60, and they each have a different. They each have a different question. If you don't like the question, you can say pass, and we'll go into a different number.
Okay. So I get to pick 5 numbers.
Yep. So
right.
pick the first number.
3.
What's your greatest fear?
What would my greatest fear be? Probably dying.
Okay. Another one?
7.
Name 2 famous people who really piss you off.
Who really piss me off? Oh. 2 famous people that really piss me off. Oh my God.
They don't have to be musicians. I mean, no, they can be anyone.
Well, those are usually the people that piss me off the most. Musicians. 2 people that really piss me off. God, who pisses me off?
Most people say, one of the Oasis brothers.
Well, they don't really piss me off. They're pretty amusing. I think they're pretty funny. Wow, who really makes me angry? Oh, Moby. Moby.
Excuse my ignorance, but who's Moby?
Moby is a musician.
Okay.
He really pisses me off. He did a Mission of Burma song and changed the lyrics, and so that it could be on MTV, and it's the most vile act of raping one of the greatest songs ever in the history of rock and roll.
And who did he rip off? Sorry, what's the name?
Mission of Burma. This song.
Mission of Burma.
Yeah, this song called "That's When I Reach for My Revolver," and he changed the lyrics because MTV wouldn't play the revolver. Whatever, it just pissed me off.
All right.
And another person that really pisses me off is probably I don't know. There really aren't that many people that really piss me off.
Any actors or politicians or?
Oh. No, not really.
All right, another one.
Okay, 4.
Which part of your body would you most like to change if you could?
Probably my shoulder blades. I think. Wait, these are your shoulder blades, right? Yeah.
Is that?
They're just
I thought
so.
it was...
Oh no! Then what's this?
Oh, that bone there. Isn't that your collarbone?
Yeah, it's your collarbone.
Right.
Collarbone. They stick out too much.
All right, another one.
12.
Could any amount of money tempt you to do a nude center spread?
A nude center spread?
Mm-hmm.
No. I already have enough money.
Okay, I think we've got how many ones there? Another couple.
1.
Okay. What's the biggest myth about fame?
That you're better than anyone else. Probably.
Okay, and one more.
9.
What's your most unpleasant characteristic?
Probably my cynicism. I would say that's it.
I just want to get one more because it's actually a good question.
Okay.
Just say a number.
Okay. 10.
Which song do you wish you'd written?
That's when I reached for my revolver by Mission of Burma so that I could sue Moby.